You are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So what's going on in the world? Not much. Just a calm, quiet planet we're living on at the moment. Not much going on in 2020. Do you reckon the mind's just fucked up with 2012? It was actually meant to be 2020. The shaman who was doing his calculations on the Mayan calendar fucked it up. It's meant to be 2020. By the 21st of December 2020, is the world even going to look the same as it did a year ago? It's definitely not going to look the same. China is skyrocketing to the number one position, and they haven't even fucking thrown a rock yet. Actually, they have thrown a rock. Along with everything else, there's some tension on the borders of China and India. There's some rock throwing going on there. The Indian army are running in and bowling rocks in like cricketers, and the Chinese army is swatting them away with ping pong paddles. The Indian-Chinese war would be a very lopsided war amongst superpowers, I can tell you that right now. Indians think they're about to go number one, but India's about to go number 4. When I was in India, I was doing this joke about how China is going to be number 1 soon, and it didn't go down well in India because India legitimately think they are going to be number 1 in the world very soon. How do I know the Indian-Chinese war will be a very lopsided war? How do I know? Look back at the 2008 Beijing Olympic opening ceremony and then go to India and watch them spend 3.5 years building a bus stop. The riots are continuing and they are fucking flaring up all over the US. And I'll give this to America. Nobody does entertainment like the US. Even their civil wars are next level entertaining. You've got some cunt running out into the middle of the street with a bow and arrow just starting to fucking launch at the protesters. And you're like, what the fuck is going on here? You're watching it and you're like, somebody's got to stop this guy. Somebody jump in. And you're like, who's going to jump in? And you see some skater sneak up behind him and just truck him in the head. Then they disarmed him and kicked the fuck out of him. They let him live, which is pretty good. There hasn't been a lot of deaths. But God knows how much this COVID-19 has spread throughout these riots. What good was social distancing for 2 months, 3 months, when you were just going to come out of your house and start rioting anyway? I don't think anyone on any level were anticipating these particular riots. They probably anticipated some riots later on down the track when the economy got bad, but these ones have put a massive spanner in the work because now later on down the track, when they start trying to fucking repossess people's homes and kicking them out on the street, the people are ready to fucking rock and roll now. The cops turn up to someone's house to kick them out on the street. The whole fucking neighborhood should be there. Sorry, boys. We're running the show now. But I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is they're just going to let this play out. They're not going to go hard. The police are just going to let it burn itself out. And then when everyone gets distracted by something, probably the second wave, they'll slam that in the media. The second wave's coming, people are dying, they'll ramp that back up. The protesters will go back inside. And then some people are going to be getting some knocks on the doors in the middle of the night to be whisked out of their bed and thrown into fucking FEMA camps. They can trace every single person that were at these riots if they have their phone on them. That guy who stole the car directly out of the car dealership in LA, if he had his phone on them, all they need to do is check the date and time, what fucking mobile phone was at that point, and then just track him down. You think they can't do it, but they have that technology already. So if you're going out there to protest, don't take your phone. Just let one guy take his phone to live stream so I can watch. The rest of you just leave it at home. And then when they start piling through the data, the GPS data, you just go, I was at home. I was too scared to leave the house. And they just have a quick glance inside your house and it's full of brand new Target shit. I was thinking to myself today, I wouldn't mind being in the US right now checking this out. Like, why couldn't I just go and check it out? It's going to be like history over the next year or two. Ernest Hemingway was in Spain during the Spanish Civil War and he wrote fucking books about it. And I'm not putting myself in the same category as Hemingway. I wouldn't put myself in such a low bracket. But I'm just saying, if there were flights there, I'd be half tempted to go. But there's no actual flights. No, I probably wouldn't. I'm shit talking. I remember though I was in a riot once. I completely forgot about it until today. It obviously wasn't like this. It had no point to it. But when I was 18, everyone used to go to this beach town called Rye for New Year's Eve party. And it used to be huge. There used to be like 10,000, 15, 20,000 people at this fucking Rye New Year's Eve party every year along the foreshore. And fucked up shit always happened there because it'd be a mix of like 50% locals and 50% fuckheads from the city coming down wanting to start fights. So there was always fights everywhere. And this particular year I went down and there was fucking tensions everywhere. As soon as you walked into the area, it's packed and there was just fights breaking out left, right and center. Just little spot fires, people getting smashed, everyone's blind, people yelling and screaming. And you could really feel it. There was tension going down. And I was hanging out with my mates and then I bumped into this dude called Bunga. No one knew his name other than Bunga. But I was pretty friendly with Bunga, as friendly as you're ever going to get to a person named Bunga. And Bunga was one of the biggest fucking troublemakers, fighters, crazy men I've ever met in my life. All he wanted to do was fight all the time. He used to turn up to parties, start a fight, rip his t-shirt off like he was a fucking wrestler, and then he'd just get his ass handed to him. So I'm there speaking to Bunga. All he wants to do is start a fight. I'm like, I'm staying away from this cunt tonight. This is not going to end well. So I sort of turn away from Bunga and he's about a meter away from me. And I didn't see what the fuck happened, but he's in this fucking argument with this dude, a city guy. And then the city guy has like about 20 other mates there. And then Bunga's mates start jumping in. I'm sort of to the side and then they start fighting. Then Bunga picks up some wooden type chair and cracks it over one of the guys' heads. And then someone pulls a stake out of the ground, a wooden stake, and spears it towards Bunga. And then it just lights up the whole fucking place. It was fucking chaos. People started coming for me. I had to dodge them. I sort of backed out of that massive brawl. And I go to one of my other friends. I'm like, man, we got to get the fuck out of here. This is going to get fucking wild. He's like, where are we going to go? I'm like, let's climb that roof. So we climbed onto the roof of the surf dive and ski down in Rye. Just watched it from there. A massive fucking brawl erupt. Thousands of people involved. Everywhere you looked, there were groups of people fighting. Some dude pulled out a fucking machete and started chasing some other dude. Then the dude with the machete fell over. I can't remember what happened to him, but then there was another fight over there. Some other dude pulled out a knife and was like going after people. It was hairy as fuck, and I was on the roof crouched down just looking over the gutter, just letting my eyeballs see over the gutter. I wasn't like standing openly on the roof. I didn't want anyone to see me. Then people just started trashing everything, throwing rocks at each other. It was fucking wild. And I remember being in that going, I feel very uncomfortable with this whole thing. But that was more chaos. That was a lot more chaos. That was just everyone against everyone. Like, it didn't really matter who you were. If you didn't know the person, that was your enemy. That's how it was. Still, I didn't enjoy it at all, and I was glad I was on the fucking roof. But still, you kind of want to be there a little bit, don't you? Watching a little bit of history unfold. So no one sent in advice this week. If you want some sober Boyle advice on Sundays, just send me anything in. I will use all my wisdom to give you some sound advice. Alright, that's it from me tonight. Subscribe to the podcast, rate, review it for me, tell your friends about it, and I'll see you the fuck later.